When Steel talks, everybody listens.
So this is When Steel Talks, and we're really pleased to have the opportunity to sit down with Mr. Jahlani Roberts of CASM, and of course a performing artist, actor, educator, administrator in his own right, and arranger as well. And this has been overdue, but we're pleased to have the opportunity finally to have our schedules mesh, and want to share more about Jahlani with the global steel band community than what is just generally known. I mean, you are a familiar face on the New York pan scene, but as always, there's definitely more beneath the surface and more that we like to get out there about you. And you're a young man in your own right, coming up in the world, and this is just pretty cool. Thank you for sharing this time and this space with us, and let's get to it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So, how did you first become involved with the steel pan instrument and the art form?
Well, I kind of first got, well, firstly, my family plays steel pan, so I have cousins that I live with that play steel pan. My sister's been playing steel pan for years. My grandfather had a steel band in Trinidad. He would kill me because I cannot remember the name of the band. But it was years and years ago. But they had steel pans in the house, and I was always around the culture. Never liked it. Never liked it. I started playing when I was about 7 for about a month, but I was so bad at it, I just wanted to quit, so I gave it up. And ironically enough, my grandmother told me that was it. She was like, once you give it up, you're done. You can never play again. And she banned me from playing in the house. Like, she would not, she didn't want me to play. She told me I quit, and that was it. But she ended up passing away in '07. And my sister was playing pan right around the time before she passed. My sister won Panorama in 2006 with CASM.
Okay.
And she was getting all the love in the house. And
how old were you then, about?
14.
So 7 years after your ban from grandma.
Exactly.
Okay.
About 14. And then she's getting better at playing pan. They just won Panorama. She's getting all this love. So I was like, let me just see what she's doing. And she kind of taught me some stuff here and there. And I ended up working my way back into the band.
And after all these years, you know, you've got your own Panorama wins under your belt at this point in time. So therefore, when did you, from 7 years old to this evolution, your path on playing pan, becoming a Panorama player, becoming a panist in your own right, decide that I think I might make pan, you know, my career, I'll give this a shot? What was that point for you?
I don't even know, because I never planned to do any of this. I never planned to be a musician. I never planned to get to this point. So I can't really say I had like some epiphany or some enlightening moment where I was like, okay, this is what I want to pursue. But I think it was just throughout the process of playing and of competing for panoramas, doing solo performances, doing smaller setting performances, kind of venturing into the community in other ways besides just playing. That's kind of, I guess, where I realized this is, like, I enjoy this enough. I will say there was a time I worked at Five Guys, and I was also teaching steel pan, and I went to Trinidad for about 2 weeks for Panorama, and I came back to Five Guys, and I couldn't do it anymore.
I think that might have been the point.
That probably was the point. I just couldn't do it anymore. I was just in there, I was just like, I can't stand this job. I called my dad, I was like, Dad, I think I want to quit. I don't really have a backup plan right now, but I just don't want to work here. And he was like, do you? So I quit, and I struggled for a while just teaching, but
teaching pan?
Yes, teaching pan, but I was doing, I did what I...
You enjoyed it.
What I enjoyed to do, and it allowed me to...
It gave you a sense of fulfillment.
Right.
Yeah.
It allowed me to kind of free up my schedule, especially to practice more, to do more solo performances, and I grew.
Well, what's interesting about that is that a lot of people in today's world do not have the privilege of being able to say, you know, what we do from 9 to 5, or that takes up the majority of our life, that we actually enjoy, and that it brings a sense of fulfillment or an emotional balance. So the fact that pan has more or less afforded you that path and affords you that sense of fulfillment and joy at times, and it also is a point of earning, then that's pretty cool, and that's a privilege. So congratulations on that, because a lot of people enjoy pan, but they have a 9 to 5, and some of them they say, look, we come alive and it's Panorama time or when we're on stage, but it does not put, food on the table. So
honestly,
you are,
I would say,
fortunate.
I mean, it's not easy. I'm no millionaire or made man yet, but what I will say is that I feel like the availability is the biggest issue right now. There are a lot more capable people that are just not available, and there are a lot of positions. I know, for example, there are a lot of teaching artist positions around the city, especially now that Pan is becoming more popular amongst after-school programs and school curriculums. But there are not as many available people to facilitate those programs, and then those programs aren't really properly funded, so they can't support. Like one teaching job will not support the average individual, so it becomes an issue.
Yeah. So, of course, Pan, your choice of instrument. Any thoughts at any other point in time? Well, maybe I want to do something else. Are you also a percussionist? You're a drummer, but is there any other instrument that might have attracted your attention at any point, or you were like, okay, Pan, my instrument of choice, that's it?
Pan and drums. I started on trumpet when I went to high school. That's kind of what started me back into Pan. I got to high school, was forced into music class, learned to play trumpet, and I was okay, but I sucked, man. So I kind of moved over to drums, and it was just because I was naturally good at playing drums. Like, I caught it a little quickly, so it kind of attracted me to play more. Same with when I got back into Pan. From learning from my sister, I got back to the Pan yard.
It was easier.
It was easier.
As opposed to 7 years old when you didn't like it.
Right, and because it was easier, it was more enjoyable because now I can learn more, now I can do more, I can dance like everyone else is dancing. I can do what everybody else is doing, and it felt good. So I guess that's probably what kept me going.
So who are your musical influences? People you're like, yeah, this clicks.
People I know, there are a lot of my influences mainly come from the people that I know around me. I could not even begin. I couldn't go anywhere without beginning with Quentin Rose because I give him the credit for creating me to this point. Of course, my parents get all the credit for making me, but as far as my career goes, as far as me being a musician, I don't think I would have learned anywhere near as much without him. He taught me practically everything I know about business, about music, about theory, about teaching, leading. So he was definitely my biggest influence, or is. And then I would have to venture over to artists that are just creating and being innovative with the instrument. Like, of course, you have Kareem Thompson. He just dropped his album. Andre White, big influences. Panorama arrangers like Duvon that are out. Of course, the GOAT Bugsy. I gotta honor my ancestors. Bradley, amazing professor. Rest in peace to him. So there's just so many. There's so many influences that I have.
So, what do you think would have been your greatest challenge so far in terms of Pan along your journey?
Business part, maybe I'd say. Business, administration, and collaboration. Those are the three big challenges I've had. Like, kind of being able to make it a steady business and earn off of it has been challenging. Trying to figure out what lane I can, create to earn a living. Like, what is out there? What market can I satisfy or create for myself? That's a challenge. I say collaborating with bands are a challenge because of the challenges bands have with not enough space, sometimes not enough players or players that aren't available. So there are a lot of challenges there.
All right. So you have been involved with the creative aspect, the educational aspect, performing artists, the administrative aspect, and of course, more recently with BSO, Pan is Sweet. And what did you learn from that experience? So we're talking about the concert in June with the Brooklyn Steel Orchestra management team, which you're part of, and that in itself was well received. What did you personally and professionally learn from that experience?
Personally, I learned that, I guess I was reaffirmed that, the culture is alive and well, it will thrive again in another way, in a greater way. I learned that you can still to this day, influence and touch people, that the instrument can transcend and it can bring people together. I saw that at the show. Professionally, I learned a lot about managing events, about what it takes to planning ahead. I learned kind of what I think our community needs to learn more of in order to elevate ourselves, to elevate each other, just to provide a better public showing of ourselves, and to kind of be more inclusive in how we present ourselves.
Okay.
I learned that for sure.
All right. So the multiplicity of hats that you have worn and continue to wear on an ongoing basis, we just reiterated them. Performing artist, administrator, educator, creator, administrator. Any of these you prefer in particular, or do they all then lend themselves into your creative craft and makes you a more complete, at the end of the day, this is what I want to do?
I could not see myself not doing any of these things. Like at this point, which is funny because I never see myself doing any of these things. I never seen this happening. BSO is an absolute blessing. That committee, they're my family. I love each and every one of you. Look out for Panda Suite 2K19 coming soon. But yes, BSO is amazing, and it definitely helps to create how I become today, who I am today. I couldn't pick one.
No, right.
I know, there are things I like less than others, but I love everything that I do.
All right, so you've also added actor to your resume this year with the Penman showing, originally with Jahlani Roberts several years ago.
Joseph.
Ryan Joseph.
Ryan.
It's going to call me Ryan Joseph. And he was the originator in that role. But of course, you had your own time in the spotlight this year twice. And talk about that experience as an actor, as Penman.
Amazing experience.
Okay.
Amazing experience. Another blessing. All this has just been unexpected blessings. Very happy.
A great ride.
Yes, an amazing ride. But being an actor is very different. Felt very different. I needed a lot more kind of assurance and reassurance from the people around me that I was doing good and that that I'm working it, and I just need to keep at the process because
you were a first-time actor.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't audition for it. I was selected.
Because you had to be a pan player.
Yes, I had to be a panist. And Ryan and Kira and Mr. Scantlebury,
yes,
they definitely did a great job of connecting me with Frankie Duke and Miss Michelle Manette Gomez, who is the greatest director. She taught me everything about acting.
Yeah.
They let me be myself, and they
brought out the best in you.
Yeah, they brought out everything I could do.
Yeah.
So it was a great experience.
Okay. On the topic of experiences, what has made you the happiest in your life in Pan so far?
The happiest. When I think about highlights in my Steelpan career,
what makes you proud? What really stays with you?
Going to Africa.
Okay.
Which I got to go to Africa last year and this year. Probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest trips I've ever taken in my life, and to do it for Pan. It was just like, what? You guys want me to go where? What, for me? And then the way I was accepted, oh man, it was the best. My music video, Wild Thoughts. I could care less if I got 1 view, if I got 1 million, just to do something different in that way with the instrument, and to go from talking about it to seeing it come to life, and to seeing other people receive it. It makes me want to do more of that. I think about those, winning ICP, I didn't win ICP. But it felt like a win coming forth. That felt like a win. Oh my gosh!
International Conference of Pan.
Yes, that was a highlight. And of course, winning Panorama. Those are my
highlights. Yeah. Talk a bit more about Pan in Africa and your experience there and what you did and how it came about.
Well, it came about because Colonel Simon, another member of BSO, kind of reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to encounter this experience with Padua Mass and Something Positive. We came together to create Juve Fest. And they asked us if we wanted to, go to Africa and be a part of this. We were kind of like ambassadors for the Juve culture. So we did a Juve processional in the street. We did some collaborations with dance and Steelpan. We did some sightseeing and cultural exchange.
Which countries did you go to?
We went to Morocco in November, Rabat, the capital. We went for Visa for Music, which was a big music festival out there. And from that, we got invited to go to Massa, which is another big music festival in March in Abidjan.
Abidjan,
yes,
yeah.
Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. So that was another amazing trip. The food, oh man, sorry, I just had a flashback. The food, oh man, that was just it. Wayne knows. Actually, Wayne, you know about that food. That food was amazing. That food, oh man, every day.
So how many of you guys went in terms of panists?
It was myself, Wayne Bernard, Kendall Williams, and the first trip, Odie Franklin, but Odie did not go the second time around because, Odie has a family, he had business. But,
yeah, gotcha.
But it was great.
Okay.
Both trips were amazing.
Okay, so now what disturbs you the most relative to the pan movement?
Disturbs
the
me?
art form, yeah. Is there anything that, you're like, now, I wish this wasn't so, or this could be better, or this really needs to change? This could be any aspect.
Production, production, promotion, and the way we showcase ourselves. I feel like the public has no idea, the layman has no idea what the capabilities of this instrument truly are. We control that. We know it's our passion, we spend the time with it. And I don't mean we as in any individual person, it's just anybody that loves pan. Anybody that plays and is of the culture. Right, especially band leaders, section leaders, main influencers in bands. It's our culture to show the world. And I feel like a lot of the times we kind of bow down to what they think already exists. So they'll travel, the average person will travel abroad and they'll see pan on a cruise ship. They'll see it on a beach. They'll see it on an island somewhere. And I don't know what panists they're seeing wearing white pants and flowered shirts and sandals, but then they come here and they ask us to do these things.
The same stereotypes.
To fill out the stereotype, to play this kind of music that they think we play in.
Or only play.
Right, so now we go there and we give them what they want and they accept it and everybody's happy. We get paid and they get the entertainment, except where does that leave the instrument?
And the art form.
Right, and where does that leave our growth? Right, we're not growing, we're not moving.
Okay. And what maintains your exuberance for essentially the entire movement, the art form as it is?
The people around me. I know a lot of amazingly talented players that honestly the world needs to know. The world needs to know us, and I feel like a lot of people right now are pushing in their own way and doing a lot to create their own buzz. And it kind of keeps me wanting to be a part of that. I feel like one person isn't going to change what our circumstances are. It's going to take a movement. There needs to be, a lot more people creating music videos, a lot more people acting, a lot more people creating albums, a lot more bands competing, a lot more shows, not even competitions, just concerts, symposiums.
Just keeping everything
right, anything.
rising and moving forward.
The activity needs to continue. And I think the standard needs to elevate as far as production and professionalism, and just how we showcase ourselves.
So let's just jump back for a moment as to one of the things that really you're concerned about, and as you just called it, like kind of like a gripe. Let's talk about it a bit more.
Yeah.
Relative to pan, of course.
Right. Definitely a gripe I have is that, there's no true standard there in the community. There's no real way for someone who's not a panist to know the difference between, what's acceptable and what's not. It's kind of just like whoever's available, whoever's for hire, whoever I see first, is the guy who's the first one, or the gal, the person who's the first one, who I see or who's available is the person that gets the gig.
But then that's pretty much why it's good to have people like yourself out there, like Quent Rose, like Iman Pascal, like Mustafa, like Kareem, Andre, Kendall. You know, it's pretty good to have you guys out there at the peak of your game with a respect for the instrument and with professionalism, all these things in tow. And so you guys are the standard bearers, and that is what we have to maintain, and you guys have to be out there. So that's pretty good. Congratulations on that to all of y'all. Yeah. And for you for being one of that crew. That's pretty good. It's in an excellent place right now.
Oh, thank you.
What would be your advice to other people in the world who want to follow in your steps, your footsteps as a Steelpan musician? What advice do you have for them?
Follow my footsteps. You wanna aim higher, right? But
no,
we want to go further. I want to go further, so they should want to go further.
Then that's good.
But yeah, but that would be my advice. There are people in the community that I kind of advise, mentor in a light sense, like my good friend Lance Maximin, 2-time junior Panorama champion. We talk all the time, and he's a person that we can speak about, like our careers and kind of what it takes to get to the next level. And I'm always telling him, you just got to be comfortable with what you do. Don't worry about the gratification or the success that's around you. Just focus on the process and work on that. If you focus on this one thing and you're as great as possible and you fall in love with it and you obsess with it, everything around you will just kind of fall into place. It will gravitate to you. You will find opportunity, because in the community, I don't think there's a lack of opportunity to perform. There's just a lack of people to do it. There needs to be more.
Okay. You are one of the few young people who took a principled stand, if you will, with regard to the New York Panorama abuse, as it's fondly referred to. Why did you do that, and what makes you different in that regard from your peers, and share on that?
Well, that's interesting. I started to feel frustrated about how the Panorama situation was coming about. We would always have a bunch of problems the night of Panorama, which we've worked so hard to get to it. And throughout the year, there would always be a lack of funding or just a problem that kind of spawned from Panorama and not receiving funds in time. And that kind of was the biggest thing
funding,
at the moment.
You mean prizes?
Your prize money. So essentially, the bands would complain they weren't receiving prize money in time, and that was kind of causing a problem, because Panorama costs a lot of money to be a part of. So I reached out to them. Well, it wasn't a solo thing. My friend Mark Garcerin was another pan activist, I like to say. Yes, Mark. That's my boy right there.
Yeah.
We had this little group, Let Steelpan Ring. I don't want to say had, it's still alive and well. But we were kind of just trying to probe why they couldn't kind of get a response out of them, because they were unresponsive. Well, that was the appearance, so that's what it seemed to us.
You're talking about WIADCA, which is the Western American Day Carnival Association.
Right.
And they are the organizers of the New York Panorama.
Right.
And
they promote and organize our Panorama here.
Okay.
And at the time, I was very much against them, and very much just kind of trying to not attack, but just trying to get some answers. And I got an email response actually, and I posted it online for the world to see. It was about 2 years ago. I couldn't even remember what this email said in detail, but it was vaguely explaining why the situation was what it was. I posted that online and told the bands they should boycott. Like, just don't go, don't deal with them. But they went anyway. Oh, and that last year...
That's pan for you, the love, the jumping, the pan jumping. People will go one way or the other.
They went, and it rained that Saturday night, and it caused...
This is Panorama 2017.
Yes, it was 2017.
Last year, right.
At the time, I already made it my personal choice not to compete, so I wasn't a part of it. I actually had a gig that evening. And I came back thinking, I'm going to go check out Panorama, go see what my friend's doing. It's pouring, and it's chaos and confusion. So that was, it was like a told you so moment almost. Like, why are we still even in this situation? This past year I did compete, and over time I reflected, and I kind of feel like maybe the Watica is not, they're not correct in how they promote or handle Steelpan, I would say, or the bands. But I don't think we do ourselves any favors, and that's kind of where I'm at right now.
So the buck stops with the pan
Right,
people and the pan
it stops
community.
with us.
What do you want? How do you want to have yourselves presented?
Right.
How do you want to be treated?
Because
and all your efforts in terms of practicing, the resources that go into a 10-minute performance, and at the end of the day or the end of the night, do you think that it was worth it?
Well, that's the point. Right now, I feel like the bands are kind of, everybody wants to be a part of it. Everybody wants to compete for the love, but the work, the burden always falls on a few. Everybody wants to play. I've seen it in a micro and a macro perspective. In a band, being in Castle for all these years, there's always 100 strong. We on stage and it's blue down, Castle blue all the way. However, when it's time to move pans, there's not always the same amount of people. It may be a little less, maybe 99 out of 100, maybe 9 out of 100. But there's always less, so the burden always falls on a few. Same thing with organizing Panorama. Everybody wants to compete, but not everybody wants to be a part of it. So we've become comfortable with letting Waika promote the event, and when they kind of don't do the right thing, we're so quick to blame them and not take any initiative or reflect on how we can do better. Or if we don't want to deal with them, just don't deal with them. Yeah. Right. Find an alternative, which I don't know what that alternative would be, because throughout the year there is no kind of outreach going on. We kind of just wait and complain.
But Kansas Suite is a great initiative to begin with, if we have more stuff like that.
Yeah, that would be great, but case in point, now people are looking to be us, so like we're the next hero, like we're going to host the next Panorama.
Give it time.
It's like, let's just focus on
so what is your vision for the Steelpan instrument overall?
My vision is a whole world of Steelpan. The way there's a world of sports, there's an ESPN, there's a world of music, there's an MTV. There is no world of Steelpan yet. Yet. And I have some big dreams. I would love to see things that I would love to be a part of. Like, I would love to see a Steelpan Hall of Fame one day. Something that validates our history, legitimizes us, something that gives the future something to work toward. Like, I want to make the Hall of Fame. I would love to see an award ceremony, kind of Steelpan related. I would love to see more events, more productions, music videos, acting, plays, a movie, anything. It's limitless. The fashion.
That brings
shout
it more
out to
into the
Mango
mainstream. Yeah.
Pan in Motion. Shout out to them. I love to see all these different avenues for Steelpan, because we need that.
So what's next for Jahlani Roberts?
Well, right now I'm working on a Christmas production. Something that is over a year in the making.
But it's gonna be good.
And I'm hoping that I can finally release it this December. It's a recording, 2 Steelpan medleys coming together in tandem with a music video, and I want to release that visual in December for Christmas time. I'm hoping that everybody has time to play it, and it's gonna kind of exhibit what a Caribbean Christmas looks like, a family Christmas. It'll be Steelpan oriented. I think it'd be really great. It's something that I really haven't seen. Like, I can't go on YouTube and search that up and find it. So you are putting out there what you want to see more of. Exactly.
Okay, well, Jahlani, thank you very, very much. It's been good sitting down, sharing with you and finding out what you're about. And thank you for sharing with the global steel band community right here in When Steel Talks. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for continuing to keep the culture alive.
Hey, when we got people like you, it's pretty good. Thanks.